So all these things something which also affects or founders generally make mistake here. I think Arpit, everything is fine, right? We are going okay, and you can hear.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Great, thank you. Uh, Even some of the founders, they try to go to CDMOs even when the DSP is not understood at their end itself. They think that, okay, CDMOs will try to find out that what can be a good way, how they can purify their protein or how they can move forward, which is not a right way because, as I said, CDMOs, they are not there to really extend your R&D lab, right? So choosing a vendor based on price and not based on fit is something which is also a very common practice across a lot of founders. They just try to understand that, no, first let me know where the price is least, and then we will try to see that whether we can run our programs through or not. So these are some things also which affect a lot of programs there. And as I said, main problem is also where people start treating that CDMO, when you once you have done a collaboration with them, is nothing but your extended R&D lab. You can do a lot of trial and error in the same way as you do in your R&D labs, which is not the case, and where clear cut understanding should be there that CDMOs are partners and they need to be given the program in such a way that the program can become successful later. What exactly gets missed here? So if we try to understand that, yes, these problems or these mistakes which founders are committing are something which can be avoided, something which is understandable, still then these mistakes are happening, right? More and more programs are failing when they are trying to transition from lab to scale. And then what can be the reason there? One of the main reason which I feel is something which is a system level gap. As I said, most of the problems are not because of the science being wrong, but because of the refinement of the system which is needed there. Lab incubators, they generally stop quite early, supporting different startups there. Consultants, advisors, they are there in part there. CDMOs, they focus on execution. And if we try to understand that what and all are the major layers which are there in the ecosystem, trying to help any founder to take their programs from lab to scale or to market success, then they have some kind of a gap in between. And this gap, a system gap, is something which results in all the kind of failures, mostly is what is the analysis tells also. And what is needed then to really fill this gap is something which is a neutral integrator. What does it mean by a neutral integrator is something which I will like 2 minutes to explain all of you. So as I said, neutral integration is something which is important to really fill this system level gap, right? Biotech has a lot of service providers, but no neutral system integrator. And this is underlined here because if you see many other industries, whether it is manufacturing industry, whether it is IT industry, there are integrators which are making the programs or any kind of a scale up or when they want to really take things to scale successful. And these integrators, they have a very important role there, proven, right? Even in biotech, if we closely see the pharma sector and the biomanufacturing in that sector is successful because of integrators playing very important role there also, right? So this is something which we should be trying to understand that yes, in the ecosystem it is very important to build the trust and to have these kind of integrators who can help taking the programs end to end across from lab to success. What exactly neutral integrator means is something which is mentioned here. They align with partners, right? So they cannot have their own lab, otherwise the neutrality will not be there. They design the pathway in a comprehensive way. They have a comprehensive approach, right? They don't just see one part of the program. They don't sell their own manufacturing. They don't have their own CDMO capacity, or they are not uh, associated with any of the CDMOs there. They have a neutral positioning to, frankly, support the program in a way it can be successful, right? They protect founders' interest. They don't take their IP. They don't really want to take something which will make the whole system, the trusts will fall apart, kind of a thing. So this is how the neutral integrator can be a very helpful layer in whole ecosystem to build trust as well as to make programs successful. Uh, One example which I can immediately think out of my mind for a neutral integrator is something which comes from our biological system itself. You can think of neutral integrator as DNA, right? Process DNA. What DNA does in the cell is something similar, right? They themselves don't conduct any programs, right? They encode the logic, what should be made when, right? They define the sequence and constraint, when what should be made, as well as what should not be done when. They have a constraint also, and that's how either the genes remain silent or the genes get expressed. All those kind of things happen with the help of this DNA molecule. They enable multiple partners to work coherently in the cell system, and that's how whole cell system works and things become successful. So this is what is very important to understand the role of a neutral integrator as a DNA, how it helps in manufacturing, and then how we get successfully the products made even at the cell level or plasmid level. The DNA remains same. Question comes is that when we should actually engage any kind of integrator in our programs. Very important to understand that as early we integrate the kind of role they have, it will be better, right? So selecting CDMOs, finalizing any kind of a scale up strategy, designing regulatory pathway, or even when you are interested to raise some capital, if you have some integrators there which can comprehensively see the program and help you, I think that can be the best way to engage them with. But when they prove really, or when it proves very costly, is something when you have already taken a wrong CDMO. And then if you want your program to be refined, it becomes really very difficult. Let me be very frank here, but it's the costliest part there, and becomes very difficult to salvage the failures there. Let me give you some examples from where how in different programs integrators can be helpful, right? This was one of the example where one of the food biotech, they were interested to make alternative protein through precision fermentation. They ended up with a pharma GMP facility, which is very normal because in the lab we maintain cleanliness. We think that there should not be any contamination, and they thought that this kind of a facility will be appropriate to scale up their program. And no doubt, the program was successful. They could get pure protein. However, the program in general or overall failed because of economic feasibility not being there, right? Investors became skeptical. A very common case across many companies there. But when the program was later taken to a food grade facility, it was possible to model down even the production cost to around $150 per kg, what was the target given to them. Like this, they could win investors' confidence, and even now, the program is successfully scaling up and running continuously. So this is one very common example. And if you see, very important thing which comes out here is that investors, they lose confidence even after technical success. So technical success, scientific success was proven at the lab scale. Technical success was also proven at the pilot scale. And even then, there were skepticism because economic success was not there. So very important kind of thing to understand here. Another one very intriguing program was about enzyme. It was an enzyme protein program. And as you can imagine, the CDMO who was assigned the job with the target to get the protein in a purified form did it exactly as it is needed. However, because enzyme activity was getting lost, so the product specification could not be met. Very simple thing. And only difference was that when activity guided process was implemented, everything started falling in its place and whole program became successful, right? So these are some things which becomes very important to understand that how neutral integration can be helpful there. CDMOs, they are generally, as I said, very much ready to take the programs and to scale up. However, given lot of load on their side and many people approaching them half prepared is something which makes it problematic. And from the founder side, not even getting a response from CDMO is something which costs a lot because time is money for them, right? They want to execute their programs in time. One of the program, they approached that they are not getting any answer clearly from the CDMO side even after multiple discussions. And the reason was clear because ownership was not defined. It was not clear that what is the tech transfer document exactly saying the CDMO what needs to be done. In that case, CDMOs will not be able to give a clear answer, as I have mentioned before, because on their side, all the ticks which are there in their list were not there. However, once these things were made in a proper way, they received quotation also, and they initiate further discussions also that how the program should be taken and when. So essentially, it opened the gate which was otherwise closed for this startup or the founder to move forward. Here it was something, a takeaway will be that CDMOs, they respond to clarity, right, not ambition. We have a lot of founders with high ambitions, very high ambitions, but this is not something which is needed. Essentially it is the clarity on papers or with the tech transfer documents which is what is needed there. uh, if we comprehensively try to see what these three examples are trying to teach us or show, is something which is summarized here. So, across all these three programs, you see, failures were not because of the scientific reason. Science wise, the programs were successful, right? But the problem was systemic problem. In system, if things are not proper, programs will never be successful. It was a wrong facility choice in the first program where they ended up with a pharma facility, and that's why it ended up giving wrong economics and the program was stalled. In another program, it was wrong optimization target and thus wrong outcome was there, right? Wrong interface, stalled execution. Very clear. So these are some things which are very important to bear in mind to make the programs successful. Question comes is that what then founders should do next? Uh, my humble and very simple suggestion will be, we all have everything. Most of the data what we want to have, it is available on internet, it is available through websites. It is the era where we are all facilitated by the digital transformation, right? uh, what is important is to have really preparation which can then beat the correction. If your preparations are good, you will not need correction, right? So founders should really try to see what questions they are asking. Are they asking right questions? If they are asking right questions, they can expect to get right answers, right? They should validate scalability assumptions. They should align their product, process, regulation, right? And if at all needed, they can seek neutral guidance there to make things successful. Uh, this session particularly, it is, as I said, trying to focus more on the readiness and fit, right? Lot of founders who are coming from different areas, whether it is synthetic biology kind of a program, or whether it is from any kind of a food tech, medtech, or agritech, they all will be interested to understand that, okay, what are the CROs there, what are the capacities they have, and what kind of pricing they can get from them from when they want to really approach, to quickly understand that how they should navigate with their programs faster, right? uh, my sincere apologies there, this program is not targeted for that, because sincerely you don't need more advice, you need better sequencing. Think of today or this particular session as something which where you are trying to understand how to ask right question, right? Not whom to ask. So whom to ask, even chat gpt or many other programs which are there will be able to give you the list or can help you understand. Even CDMOs, their teams, their websites, which are of course changing a lot, but they can give you a lot of details about what and all is available, what and all can be done, what programs were successful at their end, things like that. So this is something which is important, no doubt about it. CDMO discussions remain very important. Critical to understand is internally to make the system refine what questions they should be asking so that they can take their program successfully forward. Ask better questions earlier, right? Preparation is something, as I said, is always very important. So this session particularly focuses only on the layer which is before, which is readiness before you approach CDMOs, as the title also says, right? I have anyhow tried giving here one checklist, which will of course be changing with different programs. If it is a synthetic biology program, the checklist will have some minor changes there. If it is a food tech or any medtech kind of a program, things will be changing. But essentially, what four things or layers which can give you some idea about as your checklist is whether your biology or your product intent is correct or not is very important to understand. Process and facility fit is something which one should be trying to see, because accordingly then they can try to at least estimate that what can be the next good strategy. Data economics, what how the data will be, all what will be taken with all the kind of scale ups and CDMOs. Economic calculations, modeling, how much will be the cost, all these things are important. And to understand that what is the risk associated, what are the cost drivers, right? Risk ownership is something which is also very important to have a clear cut understanding there. Execution readiness from the founder's side of their team is also, which is very important. Who owns the decisions, right? What will be the sequencing of these, and the sequencing discipline should be there. Internal alignment among different teams which are there on the founder side also need to be made very clear, not in the heads but in documents in a proper way to make programs successful. This, as I said, this checklist anyhow is a comprehensive, it's a long list. I have just tried putting it in a small way here to just give you a glimpse. And this does not replace CDMO discussions, right? But at least if you have this kind of a checklist already made on your end, it will prevent you wasting times or prevent you wasting those discussions which otherwise can be made fruitful on both sides. CDMOs are also happy to discuss with you. They are open with their gates. And even the team is having confidence that how we should be taking the programs next to. For all the participants in this particular session, if anyone is interested, please email me. You can have the presentation as well as if there is this tool set which is there for CDMO discussion tool set. So I will be glad to even share where all the checklist is there according to the programs which can be interested for any founder. As I said, SynBio solution is something which is a neutral integrator platform, which I represent here, right? We work with different innovators, incubators, CDMOs, and we try to help them take programs from lab to scale in BioE3 aligned way, right? For all the sectors which BioE3 is supporting today, whether it is chemicals or enzymes production, food protein production, whether it is a climate agriculture or even carbon solutions and things like that. So this was just about the SynBio solutions, the platform. And with this, I will really like to close this session today. These are the major takeaways which we have tried understanding, right? How we can take our programs right before we really reach out to any CDMO. Lab to scale, which is not linear, and then CDMOs, how they execute. They don't design your program, so you need to be careful about it. Failures, they are system level, they are not technical. Very important thing to understand. And then that we really need to have good readiness on our end to really beat all the reputation or other kind of misunderstandings which are there, right? And these were some of the things which were also described about. So with this, I will just close the session here, thanking everyone who has attended this particular session. Let's try to build a biotech that scales in India, and certainly it requires more than good science. So this is what I just wanted to present and discuss with all of you here in this ecosystem. My best wishes to all the founders with their programs. They should get successful at scales and in the ecosystem of even Ahmedabad University Venture Studio. Let's see what best can be done together. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Anupam. Thank you for these valuable insights. We'll open the session now for questions, but before we can have a question from the participants, I have one question. So you mentioned about the neutral integrator concept. Now, I think I have heard about this for the first time. So is this something that is unique to SynBio, or this is something that is already present?
A very good question, Dr. Shukla. As I was mentioning, this is something which is a need of the time, right? This is unique in the sense that, yes, we don't have many integrators or neutral integrators in biotech ecosystem. So this is something where we want to underline that these kind of initiatives are unique. They are not there, but they are much needed. Said that, as I have already highlighted, other manufacturing industries, if we see, even including medtech, there are integrators who are there successfully taking the program from lab to scales, and that's how commercial success is very easy or facilitated in those programs.
Okay. Thank you so much. So the session is now open for questions. If anyone has a question, you can just raise your hand. We'll unmute you and you can ask your question.
Yeah, people can even reach me out at the email address which I have shared.
Yes, we have a
Lakshman,
question. We have a question from Mr. Chaitanya Anand. So his question is, do you take projects for pharmaceuticals? I have new formulations currently in the early formulation development stage.
yeah, certainly, Chaitanya. Thank you for the question and trying to ask it this way. Pharma formulations, as you know, they have a lot of things there which are involved. What kind of pharma particular formulation you are looking into and what problem that formulation is trying to solve is will be interesting to understand. And certainly, Synbio solution can be there as a layer to help you out there.
Uh, we have a question from Mr. Om Lakshman.
Hello, sir. I joined a little late, but the way you explain is very nice. I just want to point out certain things that you explained very nicely. I don't have any questions because you know what we do. Beside that, the way you explained that there is a lack of communication, I'll say, in between the startup and a CDMO is a real problem in this country. Particularly, I'm not. Considering the world, because in Europe and in USA the things are very nice with the communication, and we particularly need integrators like this, people like you in the industry that can manage to explain how a startup want a CDMO to be and what a CDMO is looking for in a startup. Also, most of the time people don't see that CDMO's perspective that you explained very nicely, because most of the time we talk about innovation, innovative ideas, and machineries that good DSP, expensive DSP, but on industrial scale are not viable to produce it. And we need to talk about it. So how can we minimize things uh, and make a product very nicely and very cheaply, I'll say, and good quality? Thank you.
Great, great. Hearing from a CDMO side, this kind of a comment really gives a lot of, how to say, encouragement also to these kind of programs. And I will like to reiterate the same fact. In fact, I have worked across international teams, international programs, and across the globe. This kind of a problem is very common. So this is not something which is India specific. But yes, if in India, as our Manya Pradhan Mantri ji also wants, we want to succeed in biomanufacturing, we should see more seriously how we can overcome quickly these kind of problems. And more founders can really make their program successful through the CDMOs which are there, or we can really become a international level biomanufacturing hub. So this is what something which we all aspire for. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have a question from Mr. Vipin. Mr. Vipin, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, sir, for the wonderful class. So I just have a query regarding we are a manufacturer of biofertilizers and pesticides. So how can we participate in it? So we are around a 2-year aged startup. And what we do is we take an MOUs from NIST, NIST in Trivandrum, and Agriculture University in Kerala. So how can we participate in this session?
Sure. Vipin, so thank you at least for putting it forward. And I completely understand the kind of program you are trying to take it forward there. We'll be glad to discuss with you offline. You can reach me out. My phone number as well as email, both are shared there. And as I said, as a neutral integrator layer, we really try to facilitate the programs, how they can be taken from lab to scale, and they can be really made successful. So let's discuss it further, and we'll be trying to see what can be helpful there. Yeah.
Dr. Anupam, I think maybe you can drop in your contact details in the chat box so the participants can take it from there. Meanwhile, we have one more question from Krishna. So he's the founder of CDMO, which is an ML-driven decision support platform for drug excipient stability and compatibility studies. So this is primarily for CDMOs and other pharma industries.
Okay.
And from so he needs a perspective from your perspective. From does such a product have a clear path to commercial adoption?
Certainly. So I was.
I'll put the question in the group chat actually, because the question is quite comprehensive.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the description about chemo.
Right. Yeah, looks very interesting. At least, I mean, the thing which is described here and your black box kind of a concern is logical. There are many things, and at the same time, I must say that the government is very proactively trying to see different 2023 we have a new policy also there which helps a lot of such programs. Please write me and we can discuss it further, what can be done there, and your machine learning approaches can be refined there in regulatory perspective to make commercial success. We'll be glad to discuss further.
Okay, Dr. Anupam, you can just drop in your contact details in the chat box. Meanwhile, if any other questions, participants can also raise their hand and we will unmute you. So we have the contact details now in the chat box. In case we are also putting down the contact details for Venture Studio. Guys, you can always write to us. We'll be glad to assist you. So
Yeah.
if there are no further questions, we'll conclude the session. So once again, Dr. Anupam, thank you so much for this insightful session. And we had a lot of interesting questions. And I'm sure that this is just the beginning of the conversation, and hopefully many founders will be reaching out to you through the connections. So
Sure.
once again, sir, thank you so much.
Thank you everyone, including Dr. Shukla, the CEO from Ahmedabad University Venture Studio, Jeremy Fizar, who has given a lot of encouragement, and the program also could be arranged accordingly. Big thank goes to even the Government of India, Department of Biotechnology, who is supporting many such kind of startups and initiatives. We'll be glad to be in touch with the ecosystem here, and any founder who needs any kind of a help can certainly approach. Thank you once again.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Have a nice day.
Same to you.